Hi, it's Roger Hamilton with the next step within the Millionaire Master Plan. And this is about the 9 levels. The fact that we've just gone through the different sides of the square, the 8 different profiles, so we can see who we are naturally. And now the most important thing is, where are we? As we actually move to different levels, there's very specific things that we should be focusing at to allow ourselves to move up to the level above. Here is the lighthouse. I'm about to go through the 9 levels. You'll notice that you're already at one of these levels. And you can take the test to see exactly which level you're on, and then you'll know exactly what the next step is that you need to take. And this is exactly the same for me. I've gone for my entire life moving from one level to the next. Think about it a little bit like karate, where there's different color belts, or skiing, where there's different types of runs. You can have the black run. Don't go starting on the black run as your first time on a ski slope, right? I mean, you can move up to it, but you need to take each level and to actually build the skill set until it becomes second nature before you move on to the next one. So let's go through each of these 9 so we can kind of see how they work, and most importantly, why we get stuck at one, even if we actually find out exactly what the steps are to move up the next one as well, right? And once we know that and you get committed to the path, my belief is you can move from any one of these steps to another one at least within a couple of months, if not within 6 months. And for each one of us, we could have been struggling for years. I've seen people struggle for years and years on the same level, and then when they really get this, they change their priorities, because the one thing that got us that level is not the thing that's going to move us to the next one. You can put your foot down in the accelerator in 2nd gear. That's not going to get you to 3rd gear. You've actually got to take your foot off. You've got to put your foot in the clutch and shift up a gear in order to actually get back into a mode where you're at the next level. So understanding it in that way allows us to say, okay, well, what are the first 3 things I need to do, given that there are these 3 prisms, and each one I'm mastering something very, very different from the one below. I'll try and put it all on here and we'll see if this works. First of all, let's talk about these first 3. These first 3 here at the base is called and that's what it looks like that. This is called the foundation prism. The foundation prism is not about your business, it's about your own personal flow. In the same way that if you want to go and sail out to sea, you want to get on a crew of a big ship, well, no one's going to accept you on the ship if you can't swim. So you need to earn the right by swimming first. And if you go, I didn't need to learn how to swim, I don't need to worry about my own personal finances, I'll make the money later. No, you do need to worry about that first, because that's what earns you the right to be in the crews of the big ships that want to get out there anyway. These first 3 steps here starts with a step here at the infrared level. It's below the red level of the rainbow. Infrared is someone called a victim. And a victim is someone who's going more and more in debt personally themselves each month, regardless of their business. I know people who have got millions of dollars in assets and they're still going negative, and they will operate the same way as someone who is broke. There'll still be an element of panic. There'll still be an element of, I don't know what to do next, because you're disconnected from the markets. And this one here, the infrared victim level, which is like drowning, it's the wrong time to be trying to build a boat. This is the time to be stabilizing yourself, and there's always ways to do it. So from infrared, the victim, which is about, okay, I'm going negative, I need to get to this next level, red, R, which is the 2nd level here, which is called survivor. This is someone who has just enough money to have nothing. It's still about personal flow. So foundation is about personal flow. And you're still at a point where you're looking at your own personal flow and saying, am I going net positive? I'm going net negative. At survivor level, you're just getting by. And the problem with that is it means that if you need to invest 10,000 in your business or 100,000 in your business, that's way too much money to be even conceiving when you're actually just struggling to get by day. So your business is nothing more than a reflection of your own ability to be able to handle money and to be able to risk certain amounts to make even more. And by understanding that you upgrading yourself is the best thing you can do for your business, allows you to then get to the 3rd level, where 3rd level here, which is orange level, which is called the worker. This is someone who often will be working for somebody else. I mean, I've had situations in my life where I was in my business and then things went really badly wrong, and so I was going into negative myself. I would work in partnership with someone else, learn from them, earn more by helping them, by me trying to do my own thing. And this worker here allows you to actually get reconnected back in with the market. These first 3 are about your own personal flow. And once this is actually really strong and positive, which again, like I said, you can do pretty quickly, regardless of what's going on in your business. Often it's your business or investments that put you there in the first place. So once you've recorrected that, that then leads to the next 3, which is enterprise. Enterprise prism is about something very different, which is market flow. It's like, I've learned to swim, I'm going well, I'm now being invited onto other people's boats, I can even be the captain of my own boat. It's when you actually are tapping into the flow of the market. And the prism here looks a bit different. In fact, I'll kind of draw them down here. One looks that way. The next one kind of overlaps and looks like this. And this second one here starts by going almost like the difference of crossing the line from being in the stand watching the game, because a lot of people in the world are at this point, they think they're in the game, but actually they're not on the pitch, so they can kind of like be pretty anonymous whether they're in the markets or not. Whereas by the time you actually make a stand and you're on the pitch, this is the player. The player, which is yellow level, is now the one who's actually being watched by everyone, and because they're actually out there playing the game, and you can't just kind of like head off halfway through the game and go get a hot dog. You're committed, you're in there. So a yellow level player is a bit like also a guitar player. It's the guy on stage, everyone's watching. Everyone here hears music, this is the person making the music. And this is like if you're self-employed, if you're working on your own, you're pretty much having to do it all yourself. It's great that you can do it, because you've got a level of freedom now. The problem is, if you stop doing it, the money stops, the music stops. So by understanding that, we want to kind of lift ourselves up higher. We've got a level of independence, but what we really need is interdependence, which is not about the player, it's about the performer. And the performer needs to kind of show up more. I mean, the performer needs to rehearse. The player doesn't need to do that, because the player is skilled at what they do. At the performer level, it's no longer, this is green now, it's no longer about one person doing all things, it's all people doing one thing, which means you've got to let go of a bunch of stuff that you're doing. And it's pretty tough to do, but if you follow exactly the right steps to do that, you're going to find that anyone can move that. And a large part is moving the instrument from being a guitar player to being the drummer, actually setting the rhythm and letting others take the lead. From the performer, that allows you to then earn the right to get to this level, which is a conductor. Blue level conductor, the conductor makes, just like an orchestra conductor, he makes all the music, but he's not even facing the audience, he's facing his performers. And he's not even playing an instrument. He's got the batons where he's conducting all the instruments. This blue level here can only get there by attracting performers to work with. And that's the problem at yellow level. Many of us go out trying to get multiple streams of income. Doesn't work, because it means you're pushing all these cars uphill, as opposed to getting performers who can then manage each stream, because the real key here is not multiple streams, it's multiple teams. Someone like Richard Branson has got multiple teams around him. Each one then delivers a stream where he then has his time freedom. And that then allows us to then move up to the top three, where we can then earn the right to then be at Alchemy Prism, which is all about social flow. Alchemy Prism is where we've built enough trust with our markets because of our ability to deliver, that people will then follow us in something greater, on a bigger purpose. Lots of people down here want to be making a difference in the world, but you need to be able to earn the right to do it, and the way to do that is by building trust in a particular area, by actually following these steps up. This here is a trustee. Someone like a Richard Branson now is a trustee. He can make billions just from his trust. In a concert hall, the trustee is the one who makes the entire concert hall possible. They're not even in the building. So this trustee here, this is indigo level. This allows us to then move up to composer, which is the one who's making the music. And we have new compositions today. There are people out there who are now at violet level, the likes of people like Bill Gates, for example, the likes of people like Mark Zuckerberg, where he's got over 1 billion people on Facebook. These are people that are composing new ways of doing things that used to be the domain of kings and queens and governments, but we're now seeing entrepreneurs themselves can actually lift up to this level. And then that eventually gets us to the final one, which is the legend. The legend is at the very top, and the legend is the one at ultraviolet, which is above the spectrum. And whether it's a Nelson Mandela, or whether it's a Gandhi, whether it's someone who actually has now become a legend on the map. Because if you think about the legend on the map, they're just symbols. But you know when you see one, they're the landmarks of humanity that each one of us have the ability to be able to lift up to. Because somewhere we're all as part of that spectrum. Now, most important thing here is, while you can go follow these steps, the biggest thing that will stop you is yourself. That at every one of these levels, there's something we're giving up to go to the next level. Remember the entire system that I've shared before about how wealth is value times leverage. While the first two here are all based on something called our personal value. And our personal value, which is at the base here, another word for personal value is personal worth. In our personal value, there is on this side the driver, which is the person driving the car, doesn't know how to design the car, but knows how to drive it, compared to the designer who knows how to design a life that allows them to be able to be more stable. So for example, in personal value, you're going to drive at personal value to lift yourself up, and then you can design a life at this level with the 3 steps to move upwards again. in order to make sure that you continue to be stable. But then the next step is, well, I've got to actually do more with my time. So how do I get to personal leverage? So leverage is about how you do more with your time. And the next two steps here is about personal leverage, where sometimes going and getting a job or working with someone else who's got a machine, a business that is leveraging your time is an easier way for you to basically drive more leverage from your time than by you trying to figure it out for yourself. And then by player level, you now have figured out how to actually design a business, how to price a product, how to find a market where you can actually design it for yourself. So that feels great. But that's different from going up to the next level, which is all about team value. Because a yellow level doesn't need to really understand team value to be able to design a business that they can run. But at team value, you've got to be driving that yourself within a high-performing team, which is why even pop bands or rock stars have a tough time moving from one to the other. Prima donnas in sports have a tough time moving from one to another. Entrepreneurs are exactly the same. But once you do that, then you can then drive team value where you've got multiple teams. You need to learn how to make that happen first. And that then allows you to then finally go up to community or social, global value. And then from that global our team or social leverage, which is all about our communities, we then actually can lift ourselves up to mastering what it is to be a light within humanity. So as you're moving from one to the other, you're moving from freedom of choice to freedom of movement. As you're giving up one, you're moving on to the other one. The key thing is that as you're moving up, you're moving yourself up towards the light, and that's why it's called the lighthouse, because when you are moving up, you're lighting a path for others. And by you lighting a path for others, that lights them up, and that in turn lights the path for you.